Hey guys, in this video we'll be assembling the kit for the Stackr. Here's the kit. This is what the box looks like. So let's first start off by taking a look inside and seeing what we have. These are our DC motors. We have quite a few screws, which we'll go over individually when we need them. We have a pair of wheels and tracks. We have a couple of other small pieces as well. We have this caster ball. We have these two small pieces which we'll use for holding the battery. And we have this small button cap. And of course, the main case itself. This is the front of the case. This is the back. We could tell this is the back because of these two holes here, which, as we'll see later, two connectors will go through. Apart from that, we have a battery and a battery mount. We have our microcontroller. Which is an Arduino Nano ESP32. And here is the main board. We can tell this is the top of the main board because of these rows of connectors, these blue and yellow connectors. And on the bottom we have a built-in motor controller and voltage converter. We also have a charger and a cable, but we won't be needing that for assembly. So, to assemble the Stackr, you will need a Phillips screwdriver, and I'd also recommend having a pair of tweezers. So the first step is actually putting the main board into the case. So all you have to do is just slide it in and make sure when you slide in, it should go in pretty easy, and make sure that these connectors go through these holes on the back, and the rows of yellow and blue connectors on the top go through these holes. And of course also the button should stick out through here and the switch should stick out right here. Next we have to actually screw the main board in. So for that, grab this specific bag of screws. There should be 4 small screws in here. This is what an individual screw looks like. And we can see on the board in the corners there are 4 holes, one for each corner. And this is where the screws will go. So of course for this is where you'll need your Phillips screwdriver. So the next step will be mounting our motors. So first start with this side. To place the motor, align the axle with this hole. Put the axle through the hole. And you should be able to slide in the motor like so. Next, you'll need this bag of screws. Specifically, there should be 4 very long screws in here and 4 nuts as well. Now you'll need 2 for each motor. So we see that on the side of the case there are 2 holes which align with 2 holes that are in our motor. So we can stick our first screw through this bottom one. Like so. And this is where our pair of tweezers will come in handy, as we can use them to hold the nuts in place. So you can see right over there, our nut is in place. Next, take your second screw. And put it through that hole in the top. So that's one motor done. Now we can move on to the other side. It's pretty much the same process. Again, axle goes through this large hole. Now the motor again should slide in quite easily. Next, take one of the long screws. So now that we attach the motors, next we can connect them to the main board. So we'll connect them to these 2 white connectors over here. The one on this side will be connected to the bottom one. And the one on this side will be connected above that. So it should look like this. Just a note, if you connect them in the opposite way, it may cause the stacker to move in the opposite direction that you want it to. So for example, if you want it to move forward, it might move backwards instead. Moving on, the next step will be to mount the battery and battery holder. So first, you could slide it into this slot, making sure that the side with the connector is facing downwards, like so. And now you'll also need these two small pieces, as well as this bag of 2 screws. You'll notice that the head of the screws have this cone shape. Now you can align the holes on the case with the holes on these small pieces. And then set the screws in. We can do the same for the other side. Now next we can connect the battery into this white connector over here. And we'll also take our caster ball and put it into this slot right here. Now let's flip the bot over. Now on the top side we can take our button cap, put it on top of the button. And now we can mount the wheels. So first, put the tracks around the wheels, like so. And you'll notice that one side of each of the wheels has this little somewhat rectangular shape. This is supposed to match the shape of the axle of the motors. So when you slide the wheels in, make sure that they align with the axle. And now you can take this bag of 2 screws. These should be the last screws remaining. And they go into these holes, which are in the middle of both of the wheels, and they'll keep them in place. Okay, now we're pretty much done. All we have to do is put the microcontroller on the stacker, and you can connect it into these 2 rows of blue connectors. Now do make sure that the USB is pointing towards the side with the switch. And now if we turn it on, we see that the stacker is working and able to move around. It's currently moving with the instructions given by this program that's preloaded onto the microcontroller. That concludes the assembly for the stacker. Thank you guys for watching.